Welcome to the Etsy Conversations podcast, featuring inspiring interviews with Etsy shop owners, hosted by Ijama Elazu.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of the Etsy Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Ijama, and I thank you for joining me. And this week, my guest is Patty from Charming Tree Stationery Boutique. That's the Etsy shop she runs. And Patty, thank you so much for being my guest, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
You're welcome. And before we start, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I live in Chicago with my husband, Joe, and our two daughters, Haley and Olivia. And they're ages 3 and 1, so they're little ones.
And, you know, I read your About page, and Patty loves the snow very unashamedly. And I liked that because I was like, okay, I never really hear. I mean, I know people love winters on the East Coast where it snows because you get the real white winter, which we don't get here in California. But yeah. I laughed when I read you say you love the snow. I was like, wow, that's hardcore.
A lot of people think I'm crazy. My husband even loves the snow too. And we'll watch it come in on the radar, and we're just dorks like that. but yeah, it's, a lot of people don't get it, but I just love those big snowstorms we get every few years.
Word.
Yeah, it's exciting for us.
Okay, well, it's good to know that somebody appreciates that.
Yeah.
So, how would you describe yourself as a maker? Do you consider yourself a crafter, a designer, a maker, an artist? How would you tag yourself if you had to?
I've always referred to myself as a designer. Being a graphic designer, it's always been my title. So that's kind of how I've always just referred to myself.
Okay. And so you opened your Etsy shop in 2012. Was that when you first heard about Etsy, or did you know about it prior to that?
No, I knew about it before then. I had heard about it. Never really thought of it as something I can sell my graphic design on, though. Until about early 2012, we have a customer at the print shop I work at, and she would bring in her designs. She did a lot of wedding invitations, and she sold them on Etsy. So I decided one day to check out her shop, and I thought, wow, this is something maybe I could look into doing for myself. Because I had always wanted to sell my artwork, but just never knew how about going and getting it out there and getting people to see it. So it seemed like a good avenue for me to look into.
Okay. So what do you sell in your Etsy shop?
Right now I sell a lot of stationery and like product tags and thank you cards for people who own creative businesses. And I also have a lot of wedding stuff in there too. I'm kind of in a transition of kind of phasing that out and getting more into products for creative entrepreneurs.
Okay. How did you like catering to the wedding crowd as opposed to more of the creative business owners?
I liked working with the brides. They've all been great. You know, sometimes they get a bad rap, but they were they were all great. I didn't really have any bridezillas or nothing like that. But you know, I started a blog earlier this year, and I really felt like that was my true passion, was helping people grow their businesses, and I wanted to offer products that would help them do that and things that they can use in their business. So that's when I started to really focus on adding more things like that to my shop.
Okay. So the business stationery you offer includes things like business cards and what else?
Well, I have, like I said, product tags. I've got thank you notes. I've got some inspirational posters for people who want to put them in their office, and stickers and just a lot of stuff like that. And I plan on adding a lot more.
Okay.
But this is just the start of it all.
Oh, cool. Yeah. How did you get into creating designing, I should say? How did you get into graphic design? What's your background?
Well, when I was young, ever since I can remember, I've always loved art. I would always ask my mom and dad to sign me up for art classes through the park district or whatever, and they always did, and they knew that I loved it. So I've taken pottery, painting, drawing, and then when the computers started getting big, then my mom and dad, they got us a computer, and it had the paint program on it. And I just loved it. I just would sit there, and I would even design like newsletters at that point. And I was probably about 12, 13 years old. And yeah, so it was, it's always been in me just to create.
Yeah.
And I just loved it.
Then go on. No, I was going to ask if you got formal training after that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did. I went on to, in high school I took some classes, and then got into college and decided I definitely wanted to go to college for visual communications. And so I went to the Illinois Institute of Art and got my bachelor's. And then I got started in working as a graphic designer right after college.
Oh, nice. And so when you initially opened up your Etsy shop, what was your original goal or intention? Were you just testing out the waters, or did you have a bigger end goal in mind?
No, I definitely wanted this to be my full-time thing eventually.
Okay.
So, yeah, ever since the beginning, I've just really wanted it. And I'm also working a full-time job at the same time. So at night I try and grow this to the point where I can quit that full-time job and I'll be able to do this full-time.
Okay. So with starting the shop on Etsy, did you have any initial reservations or fears doing that? Because you have so much going on already. You're working full time. You have the 2 little ones. And so did you have any reservations about doing it?
Yeah, I was nervous about it because, I was already busy. I had a lot going on. My daughter was only 1 at the time. But I thought, it's now or never. I don't have to put a ton of time into it at first. I'll kind of go along and see how it goes. But I knew the end goal was always to definitely make this my full-time thing. I just didn't know how fast I'd be able to get there.
Okay. So let's talk about how you're doing all that, because one of the things that a lot of Etsy sellers who have families struggle with is working full time while they're trying to grow their business on the side and raising a family, especially with small children and all the other responsibilities that come with just living life. So how do you handle it? How do you manage your time? What strategies have you developed that have helped you along the way?
Well, first of all, my husband is great. He helps out so much. And he sees how important this is to me. So it's nice to have someone who's so supportive like that and helps out when I just need a few hours just to get something done. He'll take our toddlers and take them outside or for a walk just so I can have a few hours. So that's really been helpful. And just finding other people who are in the same situation. I know last year you had Sarah and Beth Ann from Brilliant Business Moms on the podcast.
Yeah.
And after that episode, I went and started following them, and now they have a Facebook group, which is awesome. And all these moms come together, and we can all relate to one another. So it's really a nice thing to have support from them as well.
Yeah.
It could be anybody, your parents or your brothers or sisters helping out. It doesn't have to be a husband, but everybody. Just it's nice to have that Facebook group to go to.
And for anyone who's wondering, the Brilliant Business Moms Facebook group is called 52 Weeks. Oh, what is it? It's 52 Weeks to a Brilliant Business, I believe it is.
Yeah, 52 weeks to, oh, jeez, I can't think about it.
Oh, we're so bad. I know. I'm in the group too. I know. Sorry, Sarah and Beth Ann. I'll have a link to to their website.
52 weeks to a better business.
Okay.
Is what it is.
Okay. Yes. And I'll link to their
see
website.
it all the time. I just couldn't.
I know. And I always just call it 52 weeks and I never say the full thing. But I will link to Sarah and Beth Ann's website. You should definitely check them out. They're such a good resource for just building a business, specifically geared toward moms. And the community they've built is just wonderful and very supportive.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a great place because everyone can kind of understand where we're coming from, and you can vent or whatever you need if you need help.
Yeah.
You can go there. So that's been very helpful and supportive. And, and then the other thing is I'm just very careful about how I spend my time. I kind of gave up watching TV and
say it ain't so.
yeah. I mean, still occasionally, but I really have to focus on this, and every free moment I get, I just put all my energy into this right now. And I know it's just permanent, not permanent, it's temporary. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna get easier now my youngest is sleeping through the night. So even just that, that just helps so much more, because now I can stay up a little later at night working on stuff, and it just makes it easier. Before I was getting up 3 to 4 times a night with her, and I was just so tired.
Yeah, can only imagine.
Yeah.
So what does your typical day look like? How do you structure your day from, wake up, taking care of the kids, work, and then your nights?
Well, we get up, and my husband and I work together, so we get ready, get the kids to the daycare, or my mom watches them a couple times a week, and then we go to our full-time job. And after that, come home and play with the kids. We have dinner, and then once they're in bed, I get on the computer and I start designing or, doing whatever I need to do for my business at that time. And I work until about 10 or 11, and then do the same thing over the next day and the next day.
Okay. Are you typically very disciplined?
Yeah, I mean, I give myself a little leeway there, but I pretty much, I try and structure it so I have that time. And then on weekends also, when my youngest takes a nap, my husband will take my other daughter, and get her out of my hair so I can kind of go on the computer and, do stuff that I need to do then too. So, I'd say I pretty much have a structured schedule because I do usually work around the same times every week.
Okay. So Patty, also, let's talk about being a wife and building a business. Mm-hmm. How do you make sure that you still incorporate, focusing on, your husband, like doing things like a date night and all that, just so that the business and building the business doesn't become so all encompassing? And what do you suggest for other people who might be in a similar situation and don't want one to suffer for the other?
Well, it's definitely important just to make time just for the two of you. So important, even away from the kids. Sometimes we'll go out to dinner, just the two of us, and not as much as we'd like. Our lives are just so busy, but you definitely need just to get some time, just the two of you. I think in our situation, it's nice because we do work together during the day. So I get to interact with him a lot at work too.
Okay.
So that really helps us in our situation. And we drive together to work every day and drive home. Yeah. And we live 45 minutes from work. So, we have that time together too, even though sometimes it's crazy and the kids crying and getting car sick.
Oh no. Yeah, that can interfere with your bonding time on the road.
Yeah, so we try and get some time alone too without them, but we make it work. And we're very honest and open with each other. If he ever feels like I'm spending too much time, he'll tell me, and then I'll back off. And, yeah, so it's very important to communicate.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your design process. When you're creating a new design or a new product, what is the inspiration behind what you create?
Well, a lot of Pinterest. I love going to Pinterest and like photos, colors, fonts, anything like that. Just pretty much anything. I can be at the store and see a cute outfit and be like, oh, I like that color, and I want to create something like that for my stationery. So, I mean, it's just pretty much inspirations all around for me.
And when you say Pinterest, because I know people go to Pinterest and get a lot of inspiration, do you tend to create, what do they call those? Not vision, is it vision boards, where you put a grouping of things together that you feel you want to create something around?
Yeah, I do. I create inspiration boards.
That's it. Inspiration board.
Yeah, so I have a secret folder on my, or a secret board in Pinterest, and I just will post things there that I like the feel of. And then when I'm going to create something, I go there and reference it and kind of base it off of that.
Okay. And how do you determine the pricing of your items? What goes into the final price that you put on each one? I
kind of look to other shops for that, just to see what other people are charging and kind of base it off of that. I don't want to be too low or too high, so I kind of just go with what everyone's doing, and I also consider how much time is going into it, and if it feels like the right price, then I will list it as that.
Okay. When you first opened your shop, did you start off selling internationally, and do you still sell internationally, or you only sell within the US?
No, ever since I started, I've shipped internationally. Actually, my first shipping order was to Australia.
Oh, nice.
So it was like, yeah, so it was cool, but it was like, I didn't really get to ease myself into it. I was just like, oh my gosh, I gotta do a customs form, and I didn't really even know anything about shipping just, to the US. So it was a little intimidating, but I figured it out, and it was fine. And then everything after that seemed pretty easy.
Okay. Now, I know some sellers shy away from selling internationally. I'm an advocate of it. How do you feel that opening yourself up to the international market has helped your business and will be beneficial for others? Or do you think there are some sellers that should stick with a local market?
No, for me, it's brought in a lot more sales to open it up internationally. Mm-hmm. And a lot of my stuff is digital, so it's just instant downloads or emailing. So in that case, it doesn't really matter, but I would have lost out on a lot of sales if I wasn't shipping internationally or offering it to international customers.
Right.
So I'm really glad that I did, even though I was a little intimidated at first. It's like, well, yeah, I'll learn as I go. And that's kind of how I take everything. Just do it and learn as you go.
Yep. That first international shipment always throws everyone for a loop because the customs forms throw you off, the price throws you off, everything. You're like, oh.
I know. I'm like, I hope it gets there.
Yes, I know. And then once it leaves and you find out that you can't track it once it leaves the shores of the US, you're like, okay, wait, what?
I know. It's nerve-wracking, but, it got there okay, and she was happy. And
good.
So that worked out. It cost $50 for that one. I was surprised that she didn't want to print it out there in Australia, but some people prefer just the convenience of it.
Yes, and I was going to ask about that. How did you set the international shipping? Because the rates can be really exorbitant. And so do you have a flat rate? Because there's a discussion going on in the Etsy Conversations Facebook group, and we're talking about international shipping, and some people just set a flat rate so that they can use a service where it's trackable, and some don't. How did you handle it? Did you use a trackable service, or did you use just regular shipping and hope for the best?
I used UPS is what I used.
Okay.
And now I'm starting to use more of the USPS because I'm realizing it's cheaper and I can use the shipping labels within Etsy. So it's really convenient to do that now. At first, I was shipping them from the print shop where I work, and we do UPS shipments. So usually what happens is I talk to the buyer before any transaction is made. So I'll be able to estimate exactly how much it's going to cost to ship it to their specific town.
Okay.
So I know sometimes you have to put in an amount because you will get people who don't talk to you beforehand and they just buy the item.
Yeah.
So I kind of go and I kind of look and see what other people are doing again. And it's really hard because sometimes you can really lose out on money if
Yep.
you think it's going to cost $25 and then they're in really some remote area.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be $50. So,
Yeah.
but the majority, I mean, everything's worked out and the majority have come to me beforehand. And we're having a discussion before I make the listing and then put it up for sale for them.
Okay. Oh, and since you mentioned that, do you do custom orders?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I'm actually in the process of offering more services. I'm going to be starting to do logo and branding. So I'll do everything from picking out your colors to your fonts to coming up with a complete brand for you. And those services will be coming out pretty soon. I'm getting all that finalized and figuring out what those packages will be. But yeah, I'm looking to do more custom orders in the near future.
Okay.
And still keep the Etsy shop with the instant downloads and all that passive income. But I want to do definitely more custom work.
Okay. And so let's talk a little bit more about that. So the custom work that you plan to start offering down the road will be primarily for creative business owners, and it will be mainly around branding and logo and logo designing. Is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I want to offer it to creative businesses. So it could be photographers, bloggers, wedding planners, just event planners, everything and more.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to do logos, branding, business cards, letterhead. If people want welcome packets and that kind of stuff. So you have a whole cohesive brand.
Oh, nice. So we have that to look forward to down the road.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I just started looking into offering these services, and I can't wait to get it all on my website, and I'm creating the web page for it now.
Oh, nice.
So that will be coming out in the near future.
So will you be selling that through your website or through Etsy or both?
Well, I've been kind of tossing that around. I think I might do pre-made logos on Etsy, and then I'll also do the custom work, or do the custom work on my website, so they can buy it through there. And on Etsy, I want to offer more of the pre-made stuff.
Okay. And just so everyone knows, and we were just about to talk about this, I'll jump into it. But Patty's website is charmingtreedesign.com, and I'll have a link to it so you can go and check it out. Check out the website and see what she's offering. And she also has a blog on there, which we were talking about. I'm so envious of her blog. The website is so clean and pretty. And I was like, oh, I want something like that. So let's talk about that. But first, how do you promote your Etsy shop, and how do you generate excitement about what you're selling, or how do you get traffic to your Etsy shop?
Well, the blog is helping for sure. And when I create a blog post, then I post it on Pinterest. And then I have a couple group boards that I put it on there. And then those seem to spread quicker than if I were to just post it on my own board. So group boards are big. I mean, they can get you a lot of people, a lot of eyes on your blog post. So I get a lot of traffic through Pinterest, or to my Etsy shop from Pinterest.
Okay.
I noticed, in the stats, I can see a lot of it's coming from there.
So can I ask a question about the group boards on Pinterest?
Mm-hmm.
When you post to a group board on Pinterest, and I'm on some of them, but I'm always I always have some trepidation about posting because some of them have these rules where you need to post 3 of someone else's before you post one of yours, or if you post one of yours, you can only post one a day and all whatnot. I'm always afraid I'm going to step on somebody's toes. So I almost always never post because I'm like, I can't remember what the rules for this one are. So I'm just not going to do anything. How does it typically work when you're posting on the group boards?
Well, I typically post a lot of other people's content that I think would be beneficial to the reader.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that, and then once in a while I kind of throw mine in there. So the majority of it is all other stuff that I find and I try and only post really quality content. I don't want just to put anything up there. I really try and find some good articles and blog posts. And so I do that, and then like I said, once in a while, just kind of toss mine in. The ones I'm part of, they're just real easygoing, and I'm part of 2 actually. So I haven't had any trouble with them at all.
Okay. Now the ones you're a part of, are they Etsy focused or they're focused on other things?
No, the one is for young entrepreneurs, and that one there's a lot of blogging and starting your own business and that kind of stuff on it. And then the other one is just like a collection of whatever. It's just a bunch of stuff. There's really not one theme to it. Okay. So I kind of just throw things on there once in a while.
To get on the group boards, do you typically request to be added, or do you find people just add you to the boards?
No, I had to request to be added to both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, and usually you just do that by commenting on one of the images.
Okay.
In Pinterest.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know why Pinterest is still kind of a mystery to me. So anything I can learn about Pinterest, I like to ask questions.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely worth looking into because it does bring a lot of traffic.
I know. I hear that. Yeah, I hear that a lot. Yeah. So, I know it's an untapped area for me.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that you said is that the blogging is really helping you. Let's talk about how important is blogging for Etsy sellers?
Well, I think blogging is very important because you never know what's going to happen in the future. If Etsy just decides to shut down or something, at least you have your blog and you'll have your followers and you'll have people to continue following you through that. You can also kind of position yourself as an expert through your blog, so people gain trust, and then they'll want to buy from you eventually, hopefully. And I just think it's a great way to really put yourself out there more, and so people can get to know you and what you're all about.
And I like that because I saw the blog post that you wrote on your blog. It's why you should start a blog for Etsy sellers. And if you want to read that post, go to charmingtreeblog.com, and I'll have a link to Patty's blog and her website as well. So you can go directly there and see it. And you lay out some really good points about why blogging is helpful and maybe even necessary, I would say, for Etsy sellers. And if you're stuck for ideas, you offer a printable that gives people ideas for blog posts. So it kind of helps to, stimulate some, not discussion, but topics to write about. So I liked that you do that.
Yeah, thank you.
And then I also saw that you're going to be starting a course.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that.
I got some ideas for e-courses in the future. What I essentially want is a website that brings creative entrepreneurs, and they can take courses, they can have their logo or brand designed, they can go to my Etsy shop and they could buy stationery or products to help grow their business. And one other thing I've been reading up a lot about is e-courses, and something I really wanted to look into and possibly do is do a course on getting Etsy sellers set up for blogging, and I will walk you through how to set up your first blog, how to design it in Squarespace, which is the platform I use, and I love Squarespace. I think it's just amazing, and it's very user friendly. So that's why I chose that to be the platform we're going to use to set up the blog. And basically just some design tutorials on how to make your buttons and all that. So I'm thinking that's going to be coming out in the next couple months as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So if you want to sign up, I'll have a link again to Patty's website. There's a page where you can sign up if you're interested in the course. And I like that you're just focusing on blogging for Etsy sellers, because there's so much going on. And to pick just that one thing and help people focus on that, I think is a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's really important just to focus on one thing. And that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm trying to get the logo and branding services up. And then once that's done, then I will focus more on this course.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm just trying to collect interest to see if there's interest out there for it. And if there is, then definitely I want to start building that course as soon as possible. As soon as I got the logo and branding thing set up. And I just don't want to spread myself too thin.
I know. We all do that, especially creative people, because the wheels are just always turning. So to turn it off is hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have so many ideas, and it's like, okay, now focus. What are you going to focus on?
Can I ask you a little bit more about Squarespace? Because I've never used Squarespace. I've always used WordPress. And then a long time ago, I used Blogger. Yeah. But have you used WordPress before?
I did. I had a blog on WordPress, and I've used Blogger before that.
Oh, okay. Yay. So what's the difference between Squarespace and WordPress, and why do you prefer Squarespace to WordPress?
I just feel like Squarespace is more user friendly, and if you want a block of text, you can literally just drag it, and pretty much you can put things exactly where you want. And that's how I'm used to designing, and InDesign and Illustrator. You just type it and you can move it to wherever you want. And that's kind of how Squarespace works. Okay. And I felt like WordPress just had too many updates and too many things going on. And it just wasn't as user friendly for me. So Squarespace is you can do a free trial for, I think it's 14 days. And I recommend everyone just check it out if they're going to be building their own website or blog, because it's just so easy to use.
Okay. And do they have a wide variety of templates and designs that you can use for your blog, or will you be teaching people how to create their own?
Well, they have templates, but you can change them up. However, you don't have as much control over it as WordPress. That's what some people say is the drawback if they really want to get into making things a specific way. The templates are there to kind of have a starting point, and then you can add your own buttons and all that, the pretty stuff from there. Okay. But it's not like WordPress where you can go in and code exactly what you want. But I think sometimes if you have too much freedom with that, then you spend too much time doing that. Yes. Be spending time doing other stuff. So Squarespace is nice because you can start with a template, and then you can make it your own from there. Okay. And what I want to talk about is like adding all the buttons and getting your images and using styled stock photography and overlaying text and doing all that fun stuff.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know way too much about plugins than I need to. And at the end of the day, you're right. I do tend to get distracted sometimes just trying to figure out which one I want to use. And then by the time I pick one, I'm like, okay, now I don't even feel like writing anymore. And then I sign out.
There's just too many options sometimes. And it's just, it's better just to, keep it simple. And and spend more time on the images and the design, that kind of stuff. And I just felt like WordPress, and it just had too many. Every time I went in there was an update that needed to happen, and there was just too much going on.
Yep. Yeah. So let's talk about social media. How important has that been to you in helping to promote your Etsy shop and your website? And do you spend a lot of time doing much social media marketing?
Not as much as I want to. I have a Facebook page, and I'll post on there once in a while, but and Twitter, I just started getting into Twitter a little bit more, actually, and I never really spent much time trying to figure it out, but recently I have, and I'm trying to get involved in the Twitter chats, and I can see how it could be beneficial to do that, to meet other people, and so I've been really trying to focus on doing that. Pinterest is big, like I said earlier, with posting my designs straight from Etsy and putting them on Pinterest so people can find them there. And I like Instagram. I just started using that a little bit more. So if I do a custom design or something, I'll snap a picture of it and tag it. And then I'll also get a little bit more personal on there. I'll put pictures of my kids and my family. And I feel like social media is kind of where you can do that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Than you can on your blog.
So Patty, when you get a new idea for a new product that you want to sell, typically what's the lifespan and how long does it take to go from inception to having it ready for sale?
It really depends. Sometimes I can, I'll have an idea and it'll be on my Etsy shop before the end of the day. And other times it will take a lot longer. And I'll kind of keep coming back to it. And I also have a lot of designs that never make it to the shop. So it really is a wide range of the amount of time it could take. I've always got ideas in the back of my head or I keep track of things in Evernote. So I'm always writing down ideas for products. And then sometimes I'll just have like inspiration. It will hit and I'll get on the computer and I'll type it out or design it, and it'll be on the site later that day.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. So how often do you find that you get into a creative rut?
It hits every now and then. Maybe it's hard to say. It kind of comes and goes, but when that happens, I just kind of, listening to podcasts help me get back into things. I really get inspired by listening to other people and how they're doing their businesses and growing them. And so that's one thing I kind of turn to when I'm in that rut. Yeah. And I feel like I'm still learning something. And usually it takes a few days and then I'm back in it again. But sometimes you can just really get stuck and not know which direction to go in. And it's frustrating, but it all comes back and then you're ready to go again. And just getting away from the computer sometimes helps because, I'm on the computer all day at my other job.
Right.
And then I come home and I'm off of it for a while playing with the kids, but then I get back on it again at night. And so just like getting away, taking a walk or doing something other than being on the computer is helpful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What is a piece of advice that you would give to another mom who is sitting on the fence about opening up her Etsy shop? I know a lot of people who listen to the podcast, some don't have Etsy shops and they're trying to decide if it's something they want to jump into. So let's say there's a mom out there who's listening. She has young kids and she's working, but she really has this creative drive and wants to start her own business. What would you tell her?
Well, I would tell her, just test it out and see. Just start and just, you can go slow as you want in the beginning, kind of get your footing, but I would say just set up a shop, start listing stuff, and you can figure it out as you go. For 20 cents a listing, you can really, I mean, it's not like a big expense. So I would say, do it. I'd rather do things and regret them than not do them and wonder what if. So I definitely would go that route. Maybe that's more my personality, just to jump in and do it. But I definitely am glad I did. This has changed my life completely. It's a whole new way of getting my art out there and doing business, and I couldn't imagine not doing this.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Life-changing.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the tools that you're using now that are currently your favorite? And they can be design tools or tools that are helping you grow your business, or be better at running your business. Which ones are you really loving right now?
Right now, I love Evernote. It's just nice that I can, I have it on my phone, my laptop, you can log in on the computer, and it's just always there. So when an idea comes, I just jot it down, and I don't have to worry about losing it or whatever. And I just have notebooks of stuff in there with ideas and things I want to do in the future and my goals. So Evernote is really good for organizing your thoughts.
Okay.
Another thing I use is the Outright accounting software, and it's so nice because I have a lot of instant downloads right now, and basically the accounting software, it just takes care of recording all the fees and everything. And so when I get the instant download, I don't even have to do anything after that. It automatically goes into my Outright, and everything's taken care of. At the end of the month, I have to go through my credit card and just enter those in separately, but everything's automatic from Etsy and PayPal even.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that, because I know of Outright. I haven't actually used it in a long time. I used to use it, and then I don't know why I stopped. So so it's working really well for you?
Yeah, it is. I don't feel like I'm spending much time at all doing accounting stuff. I mean, I always go over and make sure that everything's looking right in there, but I don't have to sit there and manually enter every single transaction fee or listing fee. Everything just automatically goes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That saves me a ton of time. And it's really amazing.
Do you recall what the cost of Outright is?
I believe it's $10 a month. When I started, it was free, and then they started charging. So they gave all of us who were on the free plan a discount.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'm not sure if it was, if $10 is the price for everybody just starting, or if that was something that I got as a discounted rate. But I know it's not very expensive.
Okay. I will have links to these resources in the blog post. So if you're curious and you want to learn more about these tools that Patty uses and loves, go to the blog post, and I'll have links to Evernote and Outright accounting software. Patty, what's the best way people can reach you if they want to get in touch with you?
Best way would be my email, or you can find me on my website. I have a contact section on there. Okay. And, or any other social media, send me a message that way. Okay.
And I will have links to all of Patty's social media accounts and her website. And I'll also put her email in the blog post as well, if you just want to send her a direct email. Patty, thank you so much. Thank you for the inspiration that you give to moms and wives who are in a similar situation to you. I hope that they find it encouraging, and for anyone who's afraid to take that leap, I hope that what you've shared will be an encouragement to them, just seeing what you're doing and how it's working for you. So thank you so much for sharing so generously.
Oh, sure. You're welcome.
And thank you for listening, and I will be back next week.
Thank you for listening. You can subscribe to the podcast in iTunes, and while you're there, please leave a review too. Visit convome.com to leave a comment or feedback on this episode.